Today on the Commanders Report, I am going to be reacting to 4 of the latest NFL mock drafts that have been released by big names in the NFL draft space, such as Joel Klatt and Field Yates, Pro Football Focus, and more. And I'm going to let you guys know who all the top NFL draft experts are projecting to the Washington Commanders in round 1 at pick number 29. I'm going to share my thoughts on those prospects. But before we get into the content today, if you want to get your Washington Commanders mock draft on a future edition of the Commanders Report, we're going to do a video here in the near future where I'm going to react to your Commanders mock draft. So here's how you guys can enter. You guys can use hashtag Commanders in the comment section below this video and put your 7-round Commanders mock draft down there. And if you use hashtag Commanders, that will put you in the running to get in for free. But if you guys want to guarantee your spot in the video here later this week or early next week, you guys can send in a super thanks. It's right below this video. It says thanks on there. It's a button that says thanks with this kind of heart money symbol type of symbol there. You select that button. You select any dollar amount that you want, and you send in your Commanders mock draft, and we will make sure it gets on the video here later this week. So without further ado here, let's get into Field Yates from ESPN, and he projects that the Washington Commanders will take Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State, with the number 29 overall pick. This is what Yates had to say in his latest mock. As the Commanders look to surround Jaden Daniels with more playmakers, they could tap back into the Ohio State receiver pipeline to pair Terry McLaurin with Egbuka, who leaves Columbus with the most catches in school history with 205. Egbuka is among the most ready-made prospects in this entire class, as he features pristine route running, reliable hands, and as a selfless as a blocker that the Commanders would undoubtedly love. He caught 10 touchdowns for the Buckeyes this season. And, I really do love this pick for the Washington Commanders, guys. If Egbuka makes it to the Washington Commanders at number 29 overall, which honestly I don't think he's going to. I think he's a really good player. I think he'd be perfect to pair with Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels in the Commanders offense. Now, I don't think he's necessarily the best vertical threat in the world, and he has spent most of his time in the slot there at Ohio State, but the Commanders could certainly use a slot specialist. He's a great route runner. I think he can play on the outside, certainly has the size to do it. He has the size and the play strength to be a pretty decent run blocker as well, and his ability to, maybe be a playmaker out in space after the catch. He's got really good acceleration, really reliable hands as well. He's just going to be a super, super solid player in the National Football League from day one, and I kind of liken him to Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now, you might be hearing, man, Jackson Smith-Njigba, that's a big name. I was actually lower on JSN coming out of Ohio State. He's not the best athlete in the world, doesn't have like the crazy long speed or whatever like that. He's mostly a slot guy with the Seattle Seahawks. Still a very good football player, and he's really proven himself, especially last season there in Seattle. And I think that Egbuka is going to be the same kind of caliber of super solid, maybe a little bit physically limited, but overall very, very good player at the next level. And I think if the Commanders can get him to be this team's number 2 wide receiver moving forward, I think that'd be a hell of a fit here in the nation's capital. So now you be the teacher for me down there in the comments section and grade this pick. If the Commanders take Emeka Egbuka at number 29 overall, what would you give that pick a grade of? A, B, C, D, or F? For me personally, I'm going to give this one an A. I think it's a slam dunk value for the Washington Commanders if Egbuka falls to them in round 1. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a grade for the Egbuka pick here. Then we get to Joel Klatt, Fox Sports college football analyst, just released his first mock draft of the NFL draft season. And he has the Commanders taking Nick Emmanwori, safety, out of South Carolina. Very physical player. Let's see what Joel Klatt had to say about this kid out of South Carolina. I would get what I consider to be the best run-defending safety, Nick Emmanwori from South Carolina. He's a big safety at 6'3", 225 pounds. He can come up and help in the run game. I think the more he's at or near the line of scrimmage, the better his game is. So you take a look at my scouting report here on Nick Emmanwori. I think that he's got really good long speed for the size. I mean, he's 6'3", 225, and this guy can fly. He's probably going to run in the 4.3. So this guy's got an incredible size to speed combination. He's phenomenal in terms of the run defense. Super physical tackler with long arms. Reliable tackler at that as well. He can play in the slot as well. He can play at free safety. He's got the He's got the quicks and the speed to be able to play free safety as well. And he's really a man coverage specialist. But the cons involved with Emmanwori is that he can get over aggressive in coverage. He can be susceptible to double moves at times. The hip fluidity is a little bit stiff in the hips. The zone, there's a reason why he's not a corner. And then you get to the zone coverage. I think his instincts in zone need to get a lot better moving forward. Can get over aggressive in zone coverage as well. And the change of direction certainly isn't phenomenal. Again, there's a reason why this guy plays safety and not cornerback with that size and speed combination. I have a late round 1, early round 2 grade on Emmanwori. I think he's a really good physical player. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of Jeremy Chin, but I think the Steelers or the Commanders are probably going to be bringing back Jeremy Chin this year. I think that Chin played pretty darn well as that kind of bigger, strong safety in this very one-high safety-heavy defense that Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn want to run here in Washington, and I think that that is still a fit. I think you can get him at a pretty decent price tag to come back here to Washington. So honestly, I don't think safety is going to be on the table for the Washington Commanders, especially starting safety in round 1. So coming up here, 2 more mock drafts to react to where we have a couple of mock drafts that project offensive linemen being taken by Adam Peters in round 1 here for the Washington Commanders. But before we get into those final 2 mock drafts, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics, where you guys can get a brand new Jaden Daniels jersey in the color of your choice in Commanders colors today. Chatsports.com/Daniels is the link. It's down there in the comments and description of today's show. And if you click that link, chatsports.com/Daniels, and you make a purchase, Fanatics is going to send us part of the proceeds here at the Commanders Report. So it helps us get new equipment, help us improve our graphics, all the stuff that helps make this show what it is. We really do appreciate you guys. So if you were planning on getting a Jaden Daniels jersey, regardless, go to chatsports.com/Daniels. Get yourself that jersey today to help us out here at the Commanders Report. All right, now we get to CBS's latest mock draft from Ryan Wilson, one of their NFL draft analysts, and he has Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State, falling to the Washington Commanders at number 29. And this is almost like a best-case scenario for me, guys. I think Simmons is a phenomenal player. He's got the kind of mold of a true franchise left tackle in the National Football League. Incredible foot speed and athleticism to get to the second level, to get out on screens. Very powerful hands. The stunt recognition is phenomenal. Very smart player, great instincts. He's got the anchor to protect against the bull rush. He's got the speed to protect against the speed rush. He can play both left and right tackle. He did both there with the Buckeyes in Columbus, and he's got the arm length you look for as well at the NFL level. Now, he does have injury concerns, and he does have a little bit of a penalty concern. When he was out there in his college career, he did have a lot of penalties and lots of holding penalties, and that's something he's going to have to clean up. But there's no doubt he's got a round 1 pedigree, and if you have a round 1 pedigree, you're going to get taken in round 1 at this position, just because there's so few people that fit all the requirements that NFL teams look for in a starting franchise left tackle, and Simmons certainly fits the bill at that particular position. He has phenomenal tape from this past season. Now, obviously, he got injured, and he only had, I think, 6 games last year with the Buckeyes, but in those 6 games, it was as good a film as you're going to see from any other offensive tackle in this class. It really was that good. So if he falls all the way to number 29, I think that would be an absolute steal for the Washington Commanders heading into 2025. But then another offensive lineman got projected to the Commanders this past week from Pro Football Focus's latest mock draft, and they have the Commanders taking Senior Bowl stud and NDSU Bison interior offensive lineman Gray Zabel. Now, Zabel played tackle for the Bison there at NDSU, but he doesn't really have the arm length that you look for in a starting left tackle in the National Football League. I think he's probably going to be more of an interior player at the National Football League level, but you can certainly trust him at tackle. Tackle did a really good job there at the Senior Bowl. He dominated at tackle, guard, and center at the Senior Bowl this year. He's one of the biggest winners of that week. He plays with great pad level, despite the fact that he plays at 6'6". So he's a tall guy that plays with great pad level. That's what you want to see. He plays with great athleticism. He's a very smart player, just like Josh Simmons. You don't see a lot of college players recognize stunts the way that these two guys do, and super powerful hands is certainly in his bag as well. But I think he is a little bit vulnerable to speed rushes. He does, like Simmons, he also holds quite a bit on the edge, especially against those speed rushers. I do have a late round 1, early round 2 grade, so a lower grade than I have on Josh Simmons, and I think that he is more of an interior lineman than he is a true offensive tackle. I think Zabel is going to be like a Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber guard potentially. I think that he's really built to play that kind of role, with the arm length issues, but his finishing ability is so freaking good. I think he's going to be a really, really good guard in the National Football League. And, the Commanders sure could use a guard. Nick Allegretti, I think, really underperformed this year. And I think that the Commanders could certainly upgrade at that left guard position. But do the Commanders really want to upgrade, that low of a positional value type of spot? In round one, when you still want to get a wide receiver, when you might want to get a corner, something a little bit more valuable in terms of positional value. I just don't know if I would go guard here in round one if I were the Commanders. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Out of the 4 players we talked about today, which one strikes your interest the most? Out of these 4 options, which one would you like the Washington Commanders to take at number 29? Type EE for Emeka Egbuka, NE for Nick Emmanwori, JS for Josh Simmons, or GZ for Gray Zabel. Again, just a reminder here, guys, that you guys have an opportunity to get your Commanders mock draft on a future edition of the Commanders Report. All you have to do to enter is go #Commanders and then put your mock draft in the comments section. Or if you want to guarantee that your mock draft gets on that video, you guys can send in a super thanks of any dollar amount with your mock draft, and we will make sure that it gets on the show. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we're going to have you guys covered with the most extensive Commanders draft coverage you're going to find anywhere on YouTube this offseason. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.